Okay, without much further ado, let's dive into the plans for the week ahead. It's currently Wednesday afternoon. Yeah, let's dive into the markets and kind of do altcoins. We did Bitcoin a little bit ago. We can briefly cover it here, but I think I'll skip Bitcoin and ETH for today and just dive straight into alt pairs and just kind of look at what those look like. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive in. Um, yeah, overall, not too much interesting charts to be fair. Um, we're just gonna dive over here and just do higher time frame all of these different coins. So first of all, we have TRB on my current list. Reason B, this kind of aggressive move we had last time from here, and this kind of like this overall crazy market that we've seen for TRB over the last like year or so, since about August 2023. So what I want to see is some volatility come back into this coin. It's been a slow downtrend. You can see here similarly like a slow downtrend. It's this consolidation, this very aggressive up move. I still consider this a very much, let's just call it a very cartel coiny coin. So yeah, by which I mean it's very, I wouldn't say manipulated per se, but it is a very heavily manipulated coin in terms of how it moves. It feels very artificial and for profit, so to speak. So what you want to see here is some type of aggressive move come in from this general area, and then to the upside. If we take out liquidity here from these kind of double, like these equal lows we see here, more or less, they're not perfect, but more or less, this is supposed to be equal low. Yeah, so kind of see maybe these take out some consolidation before a pretty decent up move back to the hundreds or 90s area. One of the coins I'm closely looking at, lower time frame, there's just this void that's been filled. A good reaction already off of this low here on the lower time frame, right? So this is one of the biggest movers. I longed it somewhere down here, grabbed a quick 30%. I closed it right over here on 56, 55, 55 and a half, I think, somewhere here. Yeah, that was the long for me. So from here to there, plus some profits along the way, it was about 20%, somewhere here actually. But whatever, logistics of which are irrelevant. Higher time frame, we'll continue to attach ourselves to that for the analysis. Pendle, I think this area was my area of interest. It still is my area of interest. We want to see some consolidation or some better moves from here. The fact that this closed green amidst all other charts essentially closing red, very bullish, very nice area to play. We took out liquidity below these levels, so below here, and you kind of want to see this show strength, come back to the upside, and kind of take out these levels. A reclaim of about 3.5, 3.4. That's more or less what I'm looking for the first kind of hop. But for now, consolidation within here is not a bad move. You can see this dump coming in, but I highly doubt this will sustain for too much longer. What do we have here? WorldCoin. I think the major reason I'm interested in this one is just narrative-wise. It's also performed very well, and I've made really big gains on it. You can see kind of the WorldCoin video I made a while back, where I go over my main like spot trade on WorldCoin, and yeah, you can see very well why I like this coin, and I kind of played this very perfectly, and I played this for a large part as well. So it's just a very, I don't know, I have a weak spot maybe for it, and I shouldn't be trading anymore, but I hold some spot. So I bought some spot again here just yesterday or 2 days ago, something like that. So somewhere in this. Yeah, so to me, it's really just see how it performs. We are at the low of the range, essentially. See if we copy paste one of these. You can see more or less the range I'm talking about, right? Actually, let's redraw this. So how would I currently look at it? Kind of bottom of the range. I would see this as kind of the middle of the range right here. And honestly, I would exclude most of this and call this the top of the range, and we can drag this down a little bit to about here. These are kind of the key. I would actually just keep this up here to be fair, but these are kind of the key levels I'm looking at. Maybe this wouldn't be the bottom, but more like here. Yeah, so that's kind of the range, and then you can kind of grab the quarter levels, which would be over here and right over here, and then you have this very clean range. And if you want to play levels like I do, this is more or less how I do it generally. See how price action moves near these levels and just play that. Now, it's not based on just levels that I trade, but it's confluence based. Kind of see how this reacts here. Spot bag, you know, if we go lower, I highly doubt we'll go as low as 0.5, but hey, this is always a potential option. You know, we went 0.97 here, but yeah, so kind of looking at how this one plays out. But it's overall, you're going to see a lot of charts in between here, which is in my movers that aren't the best, except for maybe Pendle, Ondo, JTO, and Pepe. So these two, the first ones I covered, were kind of the shittiest looking charts on the my movers list. But yeah, or Pendle, we've covered that. Covered these three. We'll go over Ondo. Looks less bullish than I'd hoped. So with this recovery, I'd hope that this kind of consolidates here in this general support area and holds on to that. If we do go lower, I still think that this general area here is of interest for potential accumulation. So if we do consolidate here and do this and end up down here and just kind of set up this range over here before we actually range back up or trade back up, that's perfectly fine by me too. But overall, stronger coin. It's been strong, stays strong. I like it. Another pretty strong one, although you see it's kind of order block. So on lower time frame, this order block has served as perfect resistance here. Nice for a short, but I haven't shorted it. Another one of these coins with a very beautiful range essentially just set up, right? You have this kind of EQ, top, bottom of the range. And yeah, if we come back down here and we can kind of accumulate more, then I'd be happy to. What you don't want to see is, of course, this kind of trade down. People lose interest, bear market, you know, and you trade much lower. Again, where would I see the bottom being max? Somewhere over here, $1, something like that would be a nice, you know, a bit under 97, something like this. You still come down to a very nice level for some type of reclaim of range before we get in. And if you could start accumulating here at 1.7-ish, you know, it's a 50% drawdown more or less. But I highly doubt that'll occur. I think overall my market view is more or less kind of what I outlined last week. I kind of outlined exactly what happened, so you can go look at that to see my overall views on BTC. I'm gonna actually grab a sip of water here. So Pepe, we can delete this. Overall, very still bullish structure. You know, you can see the same thing with Ondo. It's still pretty strong. JTO less so, but still pretty strong. You can see on the weekly, it's not as good as Ondo looks or as Pepe looks, but these look very strong overall. I actually don't think Sol USDT is in here, and I'll actually add that now. But this is another very strong one that I should probably have in between here for sure. Perfect. So that covers kind of those movers. I think Tau, the question why I have it in here is I think the strong recovery, so good movers, will be a list of just things that recovered very well and moved very well after this move. So Tau is one of them, right? So after its dip, it did a 55% increase, and it's currently holding on relatively nice. Additionally, this is kind of support level at 240 where I'd be looking at for some type of reclaim, flip, and just kind of create this bottom in structure before we rip back up, maybe to higher prices. Whether we do a 5x to $1,000 here is not quite what I aim to say by that doodle. Amb, whatever fuck this is, very nice range. This is such a great mover, right? You can see we did 70% on the recovery. Before that, we already did 70% on this rip, and then 70% on the recovery, and now it's just holding on. So even if this trades back down, which it's just so volatile, it's very nice to scalp, very nice to day trade. So this is definitely something that I would keep an eye on in terms of good movers. Jupiter, another very strong coin. You can kind of see this looks one of the strongest things, in addition to something like Pepe. The recovery is just less big than those coins are, but we can move this one up and move these two down for now. So yeah, Jupiter, very strong, very good recovery, still has a very good structure in place, didn't even take out these lows, didn't even give up here, just instantly got traded back up from here. And yeah, I think that looks overall very, very strong, very much like what this is looking like. And it's kind of one of these Sol beta plays, so the same thing counts for something like JTO, right? They're kind of just Sol beta plays, so based on what I just said about Solana, we can presume the same thing is true for its beta place essentially. So let's pull out Solana here. If it's in the L1s, where might you be, Mr. Solana? Fuck knows where it went. It's probably in here then. There it is, beauty. So yeah, we can definitely mark this one in here as well. Sol, very strong, has kind of maintained its bullish structure. You can draw out some type of range, right? But for now, it's all about structure, and we can see that this structure has kind of maintained itself very, very clearly and very cleanly. Covered that. AMP covered that. Pyth, like, same scenario as WorldCoin essentially, right? So what I wouldn't mind seeing is some type of deviation below here. Overall, pretty bullish on this, the team, everything behind this. So that's kind of my narrative for continuing to play this, and this kind of a spot bag play rather than a trade play. Although we do see the strength that we had seen here after some type of recovery, a market recovery, I do believe this is going to be a big mover overall, which is why it maintains in my list. It didn't make a big recovery, 30%, and it wasn't one of the massive movers here, so theoretically should go down there. Bonk, it's kind of like, it looks worse than Pepe does, but it doesn't look too bad. It's holding on to levels, and but in terms of meme coins, Pepe still, the structure looks one of the best. But overall, not too bad looking. You can see all these kind of order blocks that I drew out earlier. You can see that all of them has been serving as a beautiful resistance area to trade from, essentially, where we kind of broke down below it, and now you can see it's kind of working as a breaker where we broke it, and now it's serving as resistance. Likely to me, I think on all these altcoins, we're going to revisit these lows, maybe take them out, maybe consolidate a bit, recover. Before I try to get back into longs, what I just want to see is kind of this market structure change and take out these primary kind of highs, etc., and just set up a new higher high, higher low structure, which is, again, it was trying to form up here with this low, this, just setting these higher lows in, and then finally here it kind of broke this, put in a higher high, these key structure levels, and then we kind of deviated back below, put it in a lower low, and now we can presume it's going to do this and continue this kind of downtrend from here. That's how I tend to look at market structure, very simply, very basic. Don't overcomplicate market structure because it's as simple as that, really. This is a beautiful coin right now. WIF has done fantastic today. Higher time frame doesn't look as good as Pepe does, or as Bonk does for that matter, in terms of meme coins. I would be interested in seeing if this is some type of pennant structure forming up. Could argue that this is just going to chop it up here, or break down below, recover this pennant, and break down below, recover the pennant, and break out from there. Would be interesting to see that play out, but not particularly what I'm looking at right now. Let's turn this back into trend line. Perfect. So yeah, that's that. Popcat, overall bullish structure, very good recovery. It's like it's put in 150% essentially since the low the other day. Very, very nice recovery, very good mover, and you could even see it being a good mover during this breakdown. If you look at the spaghetti charts, which I'll go over briefly in a moment. Yeah, so Pyth, Dim, I think this is so dead, to be honest. I don't know why it's here. It was in here because I traded this strength, but closed that position out and just traded down since then. It looks rather poor. Like, this is not something you want to trade at all. Just continuously putting in low lows, so we can move this down. So yeah, it's the same thing as NIM essentially, except I'm just more bullish on this ecosystem. This is what I outlined. Apologies. This is what I outlined on Twitter a while back. So if we do see a deviation essentially below this kind of support level, which I was looking at around $5, you kind of want to see this support hold. If it doesn't, which it didn't here, I thought it would, but it didn't. Just if it does trade down below these levels and kind of takes out these fair value gaps, then to me it would be a fair reclaim to kind of take this, come back above, and over here see if I can get a long position to kind of target these highs, etc. So we're going to keep that one here. this was a new coin that launched recently, and the structure looked really good. It recovered slightly, but nothing major. Its movements are rather still right now, but in terms of new coins, I haven't seen too many perform well. But this was such a big thing about earlier this year, I think, March, April, etc., that I was always speaking about. Like, the shiny shit moves. The shiny shit just keeps moving, and I tend to believe that the markets will continue that trend. So I would continue to take a look at this and see if layer 0 can actually like reclaim key levels. It's not broken bullish structure yet. I think it will. If it does, you don't want to see it do this. Then it's just no interest until it actually recovers some key levels and starts changing its trend structure once more. But right now, it's still looking good. Wouldn't long it, but I would keep an eye on it if it on the lower time frames. Essentially, like, can put in some new structure, can put in this, a higher low, a higher high, and that's when I would be looking to see if I can get a long position on 0. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, also not bullish on this per se. Just had really good trades on it, so I have a certain bias to wanting to trade this again and seeing how it goes. Some of the things in here are kind of based on what were the market conditions it moved good in last time. And what you often see is those coins that during shitty market conditions move regardless and just ignore it. What I want to see is them moving again. So that's something like TRB, that's something like Rune, something like Rune, something like Phantom. Like, these are the type of ones I'm looking at to see if they can kind of course, market conditions were bullish as well, but there was chop, there was other things going on, and these were just really good performers. So I want to see these become really good performers again in the near future. So that's why these are on the watch list. And honestly, most other things look really dead. So if we just go over the 3-day on, everything I have here in this, just alts in general, right? These are all like potential movers and X movers, are just things that have been moved down for, reasons of no interest. You can just see that most of these things, and I drew a bunch of doodles, like you can see on Beam, that were like, hey, if we reclaim this, we were down here somewhere. If you reclaim this, I could see us be bullish, but it doesn't look like we're reclaiming that anytime soon. But yeah, you want to see it reclaim these kind of key levels. But you can see a lot of this shit looks really bad. Mog looks pretty decent. We can put that up here. Ton coin. Oh, this doodle's working out fucking fantastically. Tragic. Really tragic. But yeah, it did exactly that with a little chop up from this level exactly, and then just dumps. Yeah, no, this, this could definitely recover still. The structure's still kind of here. We could put this in movers, but I just don't see it being a massive mover currently. But yeah, you can see a lot of this shit looks super dead, and there's just no reason to be trading these things. If you're accumulating spot, then I think some of these are going to be good spot accumulations. But generally, like come on, ARB, this just, for a good L2, one of the best of performing L2s in terms of TPS, etc. It's just super sad to see that happening. It's bad tokenomics. That's all it comes down to. Yeah, and a lot of this shit just looks terrible, right? It just all looks fucking just abysmal. And we can go over L1, so we can continue to do this, but most of these things look genuinely terrible. I think I've kind of outlined like the only charts that look half the good right now. Here's something that doesn't look too bad, but that's a lot of fucking lines. That's a lot of shit. BNB, all-time high put in, doesn't look too terrible. Could keep an eye on that. Injective. Alright, we can keep the liquidity levels. Just a lot of this shit just looks so bad, man. Here's something that doesn't look too bad. Oh, Link. Doesn't look too bad. New AI project recently launched. I could see this ripping at some point. Range setup, essentially. The thing is, I just tend to want to see something like this in this market where you take out everything, people say it's the doomsday, and then you see a recovery. And then you see something like this. Like, I don't mind seeing that in a chart. Of course, I would much prefer this just reversing here, reclaiming mid-range, retesting this and just breaking out. But this doesn't look too bad. I don't know what it's tradable on, but I guess it's traded on Mexi, and that's about it. Yeah, so that, I guess, covers it. I'm going to be doing more educational stuff as well. I'm going to be starting doing articles again on just educational shit. So keep an eye out for that. Don't overtrade in these markets. I have some shorts open right now, based on those order blocks I was previously kind of talking about, right? So I have some shorts open, but generally everything looks terrible except the main things, which is like my movers right up here. So that's going to be, I'll just drag this out. It's be Ondo, JTO, Pepe, Pendle, Yup, and Solana. Yup, I say Yup, but it's Jupiter. In terms of what my analysis would be, and then there's certain things that I have recovered well, like Tau, TRB, this can go down, Bonk, Amp, Whiff, Popcat. These are things that have recovered well. And then most of these, Mog also recovered pretty decently as far as I know, because this thing fucking put in like 100 something, 60. But either way, yeah, it's not too bad either. But yeah, these are the things I'd be interested in, seeing how they actually perform. These are really good movers, and these are just, they stay fucking strong. They've stayed really strong. But I did say I was gonna cover this, and I just realized I put my thing on. Spaghetti chart is kind of gonna be your best friend right now. Seeing strength, like you could have caught Popcat. I think it's Popcat. It's the weakest, but it's also the strongest. So you can see here it's super strong in terms of a downtrend. It's really putting in an up move while everything else not putting a major up move in. Very volatile. I haven't traded Popcat for this exact reason, just how volatile it is. And here you see Mog, I believe. Yeah. So just look at those performers that are actually outperforming the market average and see, okay, what's actually reacting strongly in a time of need, you know, in a poor time. But yeah, I'll be releasing more educational stuff, short videos. Expect like 2-3 minute videos as well. This is just a market overview of all alts, but in terms of educational stuff, it'll be about journaling, really about anything in terms of trading. I'll try to put out a bunch of shit, just realizations, and not particular realizations, but like my experience on trading and just little tips, etc. I just expect more stuff from me to come. I appreciate you guys as always. Thank you guys, and hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you got some idea of how I scan markets, and yeah, it's a pleasure.